Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, two blokes chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
But I tell you what I do know. On the telephone, I was going to say an old schoolmate, and that's unfair because she's neither old nor a schoolmate anymore. We were former schoolmates. These days, Melissa Noonan is the CEO of an outfit called Limbs for Life. Good morning, Mel.
Good morning, Neil. Good morning, Robert.
How are you, Mel?
Very well, thank you. How are you guys?
Oh, look, we are on fire.
Loving our Saturday morning. So we've both had the privilege of your company in different ways. Me only over the airways. You were kind enough to join us on Thursday front page a little while ago to talk about your wonderful cause and the, I suppose the sadness of how it all started. But I was taken that day, and still to this day, with your incredible positive attitude to life, considering that you could quite easily have sat in the corner and sucked your thumb and said, woe is me.
That was never going to happen.
Let me just process that visual for a moment.
No, don't.
So tell us your story and then tell us a bit about what Limbs for Life's all about, and then you've got a special event you want to promote in this town.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys. So Limbs for Life is the peak body for people with limb loss in Australia. We work to advocate for people who are pre- and post-amputation. Similarly, our peer support program provides support to people and their families going through that, totally life-changing journey. And, our goal is to make a difference to people's lives. So in Australia, there's around 9,000 people who face lower limb amputation every year, which is a really daunting prospect, not only because of the numbers, but, the amount of people who just don't know what life's going to look like on the other side. And, we just want to ease their journey a little bit.
And I guess there would be a proportion of people who go through lower limb and upper limb amputation, I guess, who would have some, I'll call it pre-warning, in so much it's a conversation with their medical folk, but others who, wake up after an incident and find that that's happened. What's the rough proportion of those? You got any idea?
Yeah, about 85% predetermined. So I guess, what they would call an elective amputation, which sounds quite bizarre, but an elective amputation resulting from potentially cancer or type 2 diabetes, vascular disease, etc., as opposed to someone who may have an infection like meningococcal, is in a coma and or a trauma accident, similarly. And, wake up and sayonara Eddie, it's not there anymore.
Mm. And, of course, your story of losing a limb yourself is one that really touched me. I hadn't realised before I started the interview, which is what I normally do, is a lack of preparation, but sometimes it works out really well. But let's go back with you dealing with your own issue. The fact that you've got a naturally positive vibe, I imagine, is extremely helpful. But just go through those few days with us and what it was like. Yeah,
sure. So I had my accident back in 2003. I was boarding a train and the doors closed and I went between the train and the platform at a Melbourne station, quite wide gaps. I was conscious at the time, and in speaking to a few people on the scene, I actually didn't expect to be around the next day, but as luck, fortune, or whatever you want to call it has it, I was in a coma for close to 16 days. And then slowly came out of that coma to the realisation that my right leg was missing above the knee, and I had a myriad of other injuries and issues going on at the time. But, when I thought back to the time of, the accident and lying on those train tracks and just, not knowing what my future would hold or if I would even be here, that's one thing that resonated with me because I never expected to survive. I'd sort of said to this lady who lay with me until the ambulance get there, I gave her a list of people to send my love to, and I'd sort of done final goodbyes. So to come out the other side, it's like, wow, I'm not dead yet. This is awesome. I don't know how else to put it, but it is so true. It could have been, I may not have been here, so it could have been so much worse. And then the best part about the story from that point on, it wasn't a case of, I've got a second chance, what can I do to make life magic for me? You immediately put your mind to making life better for others, and that just is a real credit to who you are. Oh, thank you. Look, it was. I've always been the kind of person who likes to make informed decisions, and you can't make decisions about your life, about anything, without information. So, education is so powerful in that space, and I wanted to know everything so I could make my own decisions. Call it a bit control freakish, I don't know, but regardless if it's medical, personal choices, finance, you need the information to be informed.
And you have gone out of your way to do that. So you've had your own experience to gather information, but how much time did you spend really learning about the scenario that others might face before you said, righto, here's an organisation now that I'm confident can give the right information, which is most important to people who went through what I went through?
Yeah, it's really interesting, Robert. So I spent a lot of time in rehab, a long time in hospital, but a significant amount of time in rehab. And I was just surprised at the amount of people in there who were similar to myself in a lot of ways. And I was actually bugging them and asking them, do you know about this, what about that, and it actually surprised me that quite a few of them hadn't sort of sought out information. I returned to work 11 months after my accident, but I just had there was just such a strong gap there, and just a burning desire to get that information in front of people and getting them to feel, empowered again, because being a patient in hospital, as much as, it's a necessary situation, it can be disempowering for so many people, and I wanted to help people get their power back.
So the list of things you would do you have a genuine, let's go back to the very start, getting people's confidence and self-esteem and value back so that they feel that they are a real and full person.
Yep.
And then dealing with prosthetics, of course, which is a difficult thing, and then working, maybe it might be a case of, well, I can't do the job that I used to do before. What can I do to be effective? There must be so many things to work through.
Well, it's like you're 100% correct. So it's around, the whole headspace of just adapting to limb loss and or an amputation, accessing information from that. There's a really big fear that people have, and it goes back to ground zero, How am I going to get in the shower again? Can I drive a car again? Can I get back to work? I see prosthetics on TV and they're always really expensive. Who's going to fund this? So, there's a lot of things that really hit people hard. And then obviously, there's a big balloon of fear that resonates with that. So, we sort of just want to take the bumps out of the road moving forward for people and help to alleviate that fear, because, it's a really steep learning curve. And for someone who'd never been in hospital before, touch wood, I don't really want to ever go back. But, if you don't know the medical system and you don't understand the pathways, it's just a minefield to navigate. Yeah,
and one of those things that you're blessed with a positive mindset, so you probably got to stage one so much quicker than others, but there are many people in society who aren't blessed with the same. So is in your role of assistance, is getting people to that positive mindset the most difficult part of the journey?
Yeah, look, for some people it is, and that's an area that I struggle with too, because, you can put all of this energy into, why me, why did this happen, all that sort of stuff, which, you're never going to get an answer to. So my headspace is, why would I even focus on that? Let's just keep moving forward. But look, for others, they really struggle. It might be the stigma association with a disability. It could be the way they look, so their body image. They lose confidence in relationships with colleagues, partners, friends, etc. Everyone processes this journey differently, and some people may never ever accept what's happened or adapt to it, and I think that that's really sad. And there's only so much we can do in that space.
So, Mel, as we approach 11 o'clock, we probably should make sure that we promote the event that's going on in Geelong. Tell us about it. Where is it? What do we need to do? How do we get involved?
So we're hosting free information sessions around Victoria over the course of the next 2 months. It is on at Ridges in Geelong from 7 till 8:30pm on Wednesday the 17th of February.
So that's not this Wednesday coming, but the Wednesday after, so about 11 days away?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, these information sessions are to support local communities. We want to bring people together. So, local communities have got a network or a base and groups of people in their area that they can tap into for information and support.
Mal, just you touched on something before about diabetes and vascular situations. So would you suggest that someone even that might already be in discussion with their physician of the possibility at some stage down the track, would you encourage someone like that to come to the seminar, or is that really just a bit too early and morbid?
Absolutely. No, I think the more information you can get beforehand, the better. We often have people who, will engage with the organisation who may be facing amputation, but not necessarily the case, and it doesn't always result in that. But knowing that they've got the information or what they need there, if it does happen, then I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, good.
So Ridges, Wednesday the 17th, I think you said, of February.
Correct.
In Geelong, right smack bang in the middle of town, so you can't go wrong. How do people book? Because presumably they need to book these days in COVID land.
Yes, you do. It's a free event too, I should say. So 1300 78 2231, or on our website they can register through there as well.
And that website is limbs4life.org.au. Am I right?
Correct. Thank you.
And also there will be other places around Victoria. So if you're listening to this somewhere else apart from the G-Town region, get on there and have a look at the website, because there's plenty of great resources there, not just details about this.
Correct. Thanks.
Well, listen, Noonan, CEO of Limbs for Life, always a great pleasure to have a chat, but even more so on the wireless.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your support.
You are a star, Mel. Good work, and continued good luck with your wonderful, wonderful organisation.